Okay, so basically the agenda is to discuss few points regarding your AZ-204. Right. Firstly, we'll be talking about what is the correct Azure certification path. Right. If you are in your Azure journey, right, where you are starting your certification part with your Microsoft Azure, in what particular manner you can proceed, we will be discussing in this particular point. Then we will be coming back to your AZ-204 certificate, that what is the content of this particular certificate, who should do this particular certificate, scopes, and all other things. Right. After that, we'll be talking about basic Azure text board, right, where we will see what are different resources and services, how your Azure portal basically looks. And at last, we will discuss that why you should choose this AZ-204 certificate training with InfosecTrain, right? What additional features we have added, which will benefit you. Multiple businesses across different domains and verticals are going through a major digital transformation by adopting your cloud platforms like your Microsoft Azure, or let's say your AWS, GCP, right, and many more. Talking about your Microsoft Azure, right? This has gained maximum attraction among businesses and professionals globally, right? According to one of your Microsoft reports, more than 50% of the Fortune 500 companies are using your Microsoft Azure. So this basically showcased the growth of Microsoft Azure in such a short period of time, and why professionals are choosing multiple Azure certifications, right? So that they can be in demand job opportunities around your Microsoft part. Now, looking at your certification path, that in what particular manner you can choose your certificate. This one is particular for your application and infrastructure. Other than this, we have your DP, right? Your data fundamentals, and your AI section, right? So here, since we are talking about your AZ-204, we will discuss what is the current certificate path for your application and infrastructure if you are into this particular role, right? So fundamental certificate is your AZ-900, right? So this one you can see it's optional, right? You don't have to be AZ-900 qualified to pursue any associate level certificate or any expert level certificate, right? Now, talking about your AZ-204, right? This is your associate level certificate, right? After this, after achieving this particular certificate, one can go for your AZ-400, which is for your DevOps, Azure DevOps, right? So either, right, if you are going for AZ-204 and your main goal is to go for Azure DevOps, this is the correct part to go on. Other than this, we have your Azure security part, right? Your Azure solution architect, right? These are multiple certificates. But talking about AZ-204, the next part for AZ-204 is your Azure DevOps. Or if you are someone who is looking into going into your Azure DevOps field and you are already a developer, right? So AZ-204 is the best path for you to proceed in this particular manner, right? It's not compulsory to go for your AZ-900. Instead, you can directly start with your AZ-204 journey. Now coming to a second point of this particular webinar, that what AZ-204 basically means to you, right? So who all can take this particular Azure Developer Associate certification course, right? Your AZ-204. There are many combinations of job roles that can take up this particular developing solutions for Microsoft Azure. But if we combine, there are three major combinations for which professionals can take up your Azure Developer Associate training, which are: first, either you have a coding knowledge but no Azure exposure. Second is either you are already a Azure developer and you just want to get a brush up over your skills. And third one is your professionals who want to upgrade from your scripting to your programming, right? These are the three major domains in which we can divide this particular part, that who should take this particular certificate. Other than this, your cloud solution architects, your cloud administrators, your professionals who are simply looking to clear this particular examination, they can also take this thing. Now, talking about these three major combinations, right? So if for the first combinations, right, where you have professional coding experience of maybe like C++, .NET, Java, any programming language, but no experience in Microsoft Azure, right? It means you are trying to move into your cloud industry with Azure. Then this is the best course, makes it if the right choice for you. With this particular developing solution for Microsoft Azure training, right, you will learn everything about the Azure platform, right, how your coding approach works over this particular platform, right, creating different rollouts and maintaining them over your Azure portal. Professionals with no knowledge of coding, right, they will find it difficult to sit through this particular 204 course, right? Because here we will not learn how to code, right? We will simply learn how you can implement your code over different Azure services and resources. Okay. So this particular certificate is ideal for programmers who are looking to develop Azure solutions for an enterprise. Programmers, after taking this particular exam, they will become an Azure developer associate and will find a lot of job opportunities worldwide. And they can also go for your Azure DevOps after this particular thing. Now, if you are already a Azure developer, right, talking about a second point. So professionals or programmers who are already have the Azure knowledge, they might have learned them by chance over the years or are looking to demonstrate their skills to their employees. But by taking this particular developing solution for Microsoft Azure certification course, you can showcase your capabilities to learn new skills and knowledge and strengthen your positions to move up in your organization. Talking about a last combination, right, where professionals who want to upgrade from scripting to programming, right? So in the previous two combinations, professionals already understood that they have the necessary coding knowledge to sit for this particular certificate training. But in this particular point, here professionals know scripting but want to move towards programming, and through Microsoft Azure, this is your best particular path. Now, the question comes, why get certified as a Microsoft Azure developer, right? So irrespective of whether you have Azure knowledge or not, but having knowledge of programming languages such as .NET, Java, C++, Python, right, etc., is critical to get the best out of this particular 204 training. With this AZ-204 certifications, you will surely showcase your current and future employers that you are ready to take on a career in the Microsoft Azure domain in enterprise architect for their applications and services. With Microsoft Azure leading the charts in the terms of cloud market share, right? Microsoft Azure certified professionals are really high in demand. Now let's see what all things you will learn in this particular certificate, right? So as you can see from the requirement, this exam is going to cover developing Azure compute solutions, developing Azure storage, implementing Azure security and monitoring, troubleshooting, optimizing Azure solutions, and finally connecting and consuming Azure services and the third-party services, right? Let's get more into detail, right, by going at the official website of AZ-204 exam, and let's see what all things we can learn over this particular certificate training. Okay, so this is the official website of Microsoft. Right here you can see exam AZ-204 developing solution for Microsoft Azure. This content was last updated on March 26, 2021. Okay, so last year the course was updated, and since till today we are still following the same particular content. Now here you can see Microsoft recommends that you have some experience designing, building, testing, and maintaining cloud applications before attempting this particular exam, right? So, but in this course, we will go through the course from the start to finish as if you are new to this particular cloud. Okay, so you don't have to worry whether you have expertise in these domains or not. In this particular training, we will start from the scratch, right? Everything from the basics, and we will end up at the expert level. Now, here, one more thing you can say is Microsoft also recommends 1 or 2 years of development experience. This means working with some programming languages like your .NET, Java, etc. Okay. What type of questions you will get in your examinations? They will be about your SDKs, PowerShell, Azure CLI, and ways to connect your Azure services using your APIs, etc. Right? Different topics are there which we'll be covering in this particular training. So as we go through this particular course, I will be going through each one of these topics. Okay, so no topic will be left after your training part. Now, if we come at the bottom part, right, if we look at the percentage, right, so previously, right, before March 2026, March 26, 2021, these were different weightages, right? So your storage used to be around 10 to 15%, right? But now it is around 15 to 20, right? So over these years, they have changed the weightage of different domains also, right? If you want to look into more detail info that what all things are there in this particular domain, right? So what we can do, we can look at this particular outline, right? Your exam skills outline. So let's look at that. Okay, this particular outline will cover all your topics of this particular exam. So let's look that what different topics we will see in different domains. Now, first thing is your Azure compute solutions, right? So here we can see that this exam, 20% of the exams questions are from this particular section only, your compute solutions. And that will make sense also, right? Because the main purpose of your cloud computing and environment is to basically perform some task, and those tasks should be your computing task only, right? So here we will have a basic understanding of what virtual machines are, how to create them, provisioning them, how to choose the right virtual machine, scaling of virtual machines, right, etc. So these different topics will be there in this particular domain. Now, as a developer, sometimes we will do things by ARM templates also, which is part of your Azure. Okay, so understanding that you can predefine your virtual machines and compute services, and being able to read an ARM template, your Azure Resource Manager template, and understand that it's going, what it is doing is part of this particular section only. Okay, your Azure compute solution. So in this particular domain, we will cover all these particular topics. Now, your web apps is also one of the major part of this particular domain. Okay, creating your web apps and what Azure functions are, how to implement these things, these two also are part of this particular domain. Okay, container is a big part of development these days, right? We can say, because everywhere you will see around your DevOps part, right? People are always talking about your different container images, what container is, right? Multiple certs are there in your container domain also. Okay, so understanding container images, container registry, deploying into a container instance, right? This will be also a part of this particular training only. Okay, here you will see your Kubernetes is not a part of this particular exam. Okay, So we will not talk about in detail your AKS, your Azure Kubernetes Service, or Azure Service Fabric. Okay, because these things are not listed in your computing solution part. Other than this, we will talk about your Azure container instance, right? How you can deploy a image of a particular web application over that particular part. This thing is part of this particular training. Okay, now let's see what we have over your web app section, right? Obviously, application service is a big part of your Microsoft space, the platform as a service, being able to deploy to a web app, understanding the various settings, enabling SSL, etc., and using the scaling rules, how to determine when to scale up to additional instance, or let's say scale back down functions, is a big part as well of your Microsoft. Okay, so we will be covering your Azure functions as well. And so those are the three areas basically, and 1/4 of your exam in terms of compute. Okay, around 25 to 30%. These topics will be covered in this particular part. Now, when it comes to storage, the main two that we are dealing with in this particular exam is going to be your Cosmos DB, your Cosmos database, and your blob storage. Okay, here you will notice that we are not talking about SQL database in here. Okay, or any other type of big data. Okay, here we are specifically sticking to two database only, your Cosmos DB and your blob storage. Why is that? Because Microsoft have a specific exams around your data, right? And specific around exams around your big data in particular. Okay, so that is why other storage parts are being excluded in this particular examination. We will talk specifically about Cosmos DB storage and blob storage. Other than these, right, coming to your security part. Security is also a big part of compute these days. Okay, so understanding the basics of authentication, authorization, using Microsoft Active Directory as your back end of your authentication, registering and configuring your applications to use that will be part of this particular exam and training also. And then securing your secrets in key vault, right? So how you can do all those sort of things, right? We will learn in this particular section, which is your implement Azure security, which is having a weightage around 20 to 25% for this particular examination. Okay, so first part is your authentication and authorization in this particular domain, right? Where we'll be talking mostly around your Azure Active Directory. And second part is your implement secure cloud solutions, where we'll be talking about your configurations of Azure Key Vault, right? And how you can store your different secrets and keys over that particular vault. Coming to the last section of this particular examination, monitor, troubleshoot, and optimize Azure solutions, which is 15 to 20%. Okay, so in this particular section, we will be talking about monitoring and specifically around caching. Okay, so Redis cache is a big deal, and making sure that you know about this particular part would optimize the performance of your applications and what various cache patterns are there. These things we'll be learning over this particular part. And of course, application insights, being able to monitor inside your application, understanding what your application is doing, which part of the application is taking long, where the problems are, if you are facing any problem around your applications, right? So complete monitoring part will also be covered in this particular part. Last is your connect to and consume Azure services and third party services. Okay, where we will learn about your API management. Okay, because API management is a big deal within the Microsoft world. So being able to put your APIs behind this front end, which is going to protect this particular application, put some throttling, put some permissions in front of it, policies, things like these, and finally event solutions and messages based solutions. Okay, so these topics will be covering over your last domain, which is consumer use services and third party services. Okay, so these are the topics covered: your API management, event based solutions, and message based solutions, where we'll be talking about your Azure event grid, Azure event hubs, Azure service bus, Azure queue storage queues. Okay, so if you have zero knowledge around these services, no problem with that. Okay, in-depth knowledge you will gain after this particular training about all the resources and services that are present over this particular exam section. Now, moving back to our slide. Right now, we just discussed that what all things you will be learning in this particular training, right? And your AZ-204 training for your AZ-204 examination, right? Now, let's see what is the annual salary of someone who is your AZ-204 certified. Okay, so according to a job portal, Indeed.com, the annual salary of your Azure cloud developer in the US ranges from USD 90,000 to USD 2 lakh 15,000 per annum. Okay, you can see in this particular image also, right? Cloud engineers, the average salary is around 117, 723. Developers, junior software developers. Okay, these are the job roles of people who can apply if you have your AZ-204 certificate with you. Okay, this was all about your AZ-204. Okay, that what this exam is all about, what all topics are there in this particular examination, and this training, what all things you will be learning about, right? Who all can take this particular examination. Now, since we are talking about Azure, okay, it's important that one should know what Azure is and how Azure looks like. So let's have a look at the Azure dashboard, okay, and let's see how basically your Azure portal looks like. Okay, so the link for your Azure portal, right, or anyone who wants to visit this particular Azure cloud. So this is the link. I'm pasting it the chat. Okay, so here you can see build your own terms using Azure Plus, right? And anyone who is new to this particular cloud, Azure cloud, they can get a $200 credit for free. Okay, for the first month or for the first 30 days, you will get a $200 credit in your Azure cloud account if you sign up over this particular Azure port. Okay, now, what all services, right? We can see different products and services that are present with Azure, right? We have services with respect to your AI and ML. We have services with respect to compute, containers, hybrid multi-cloud, IoTs, right? You can see there are 200 plus products available over your Azure portal. Okay, if I look simply at your compute thing, okay, here you can see Azure virtual machines are available, Linux virtual machines in your Azure, SQL servers, Azure app service, Azure functions, right? Different services my Azure portal. You will see that how exactly your Azure portal will look like. Okay, so I already have an account over here, right? So I will showcase you what all different things are there, how your Azure portal looks, what all resources are available, right? Your marketplace for your Azure, right? So these all things we will discuss over this particular portal. Okay, So here, this is the dashboard of Azure, right? Uh, Azure services, as of now, popular Azure services, which is present: Quick Start Center, virtual machines, application services, storage accounts, SQL database, Cosmos database, Kubernetes services, and more services are there. Right, right side, my profile. Right, you can see 14,492 INR is available over my Azure account. Right, as of now, you have your PowerShell also in your Azure itself. Right, so this particular button is to start your PowerShell right over your Azure account. In this particular examination, okay, we will learn how you can deploy different services and different resources from your PowerShell and your Azure CLI. Okay, other than simply using this particular portal to create resources, we will also learn how we can do manually by your PowerShell and your CLI. Right, if I open PowerShell, right, so it will create a primary storage. Okay, as of now you can see I have no storage mounted. So what it will do, it will create a primary storage for me where we can save all the things, all the settings, all the scripts over our PowerShell. Okay, so it will take few minutes. Let's wait for that. Even if you are new to PowerShell, you have zero knowledge around PowerShell, PowerShell commands, your CLI commands, no problem in that. In this particular training, all the things will be covered from the scratch. Okay, so till this particular storage is being created, let's look at your Azure portal. Here in your drag down list, you can see some of my favorite resources are already added over here, right? I can make changes over this particular section also. If I want to add some more resources, I can do that also, right? As of now, resource groups, app services, functional apps, SQL database, these things are there. That if I go to all resources, here you will get all the resources that are available in your Microsoft Azure. Okay, if you want to search for a particular resource also, you have a search bar over there. You can directly search from here also. Let's look at your all resource section and let's see what all resources we can find over here. Okay, so these are my resources, all the resources which I have created as of now. Okay, you can see I have created 4 resources. One is with respect to your application inside, one is with respect to your storage account, one is with your container registry, right? One is log analytics workplace. Okay, these are few resources which I have created previously. Okay, so this is part of my resource account. Let's say we want to create a virtual machine. Okay, simple thing, we want to create a virtual machine. So what you can do, simply open that virtual machine section, click on create, right? If you have a preset configuration for a particular version virtual machine, which we will learn that how we can do that thing with your ARM templates. Okay, we can set it over here. If not, simply click on the virtual machine part and you will get multiple options that what all things you need to do. Okay, so starting with your virtual machines is also part of this particular exam only, so these things will also be covered in this particular part. Okay, let's get back to your dashboard and let's see services which are available in your Azure. Okay, so here we have different categories, right? With respect to compute, networking, storage, web, mobile, containers, AI/ML, right? Lot of categories are there. Even category for your DevOps. Okay, that is also included over this service section. Okay, what you can do, if you want to search for a particular service, you can search it over this particular panel. Okay, or by default few of the services are present over here, your SQL database, cost management, which are very popular and used by different users. Let's say I want to look for any container service, so simply I will write the term container. Okay, and all the services related to your keyword container. Okay, these services will be available over here, right? You can see we have container apps, container instance, app service plans, function app, storage explorer, Kubernetes service, storage account, app services. Okay, so these things you can simply do. Simply come here and search for this particular part in your service section, any service that you want to use, and that service will be available over here. Okay, now coming back to our PowerShell. Okay, so here you can see by default I'm connected to this particular Azure Cloud Shell. Okay, I don't have to make a login over here, right? Through my Azure account, by default I am already connected over here. We have multiple options over here also, right? Your bash shell, your Azure CLI is also present over here, right? So if you want to switch from PowerShell to CLI, you can simply do it in a single click. In your training part, we will also cover that how you can create your resources, right, without selecting any service from your Azure dashboard, right, and then manually giving all the things. We will learn how you can do that from your bash shell and from your PowerShell, using your bash shell and PowerShell commands for your Microsoft Azure. Okay, so this is all about your Azure, right? That how your Azure looks like, what all different services are available, different service categories available over your Azure cloud portal, right? You can see a marketplace also. Now in this marketplace you will find all the services which are hosted by Microsoft also, and services which are hosted by third party. All the things will be available in this particular place, okay, which is called your marketplace. So think of it as Play Store for Microsoft Azure platform. Okay, it will have all the things over here. Okay, now you might be seeing some new terms, resources, right? Dashboard, resource group, right? ARM. These new terms will be part of this particular training program only, right? So we will try to cover your cloud basics, right? If someone is new to this particular part, we will try to we will cover that part also, and we will start with your Azure basics only, so that you can get a good hands-on knowledge that what Azure platform is all about if you have zero knowledge prior to this particular course. Okay, now coming back to the slide. Okay, last point over here is why choose this particular certificate with InfosecTrain. Okay, so there are some key terms, right, which we can add in this particular part, right? So first is we will start with your cloud basics. Okay, we will start this particular certificate training. Okay, your AZ-204 training with your cloud basics plus Azure basics. Okay, so one with zero knowledge around your cloud, or one with zero knowledge around your Azure, who is new to both cloud and Azure, they will get a good knowledge around these two parts. So it won't be difficult for them to learn different things over your AZ-204 section. Okay. Second thing is this particular course training will be around 32 hours, right? So in this particular 32 hours, we will learn what all things we can do, and all the things will be learned practically. Okay, all the implementation, all those things will be taught to you practically, right? And after every Q&A uh, of a particular domain, we will have a question set so that you can prepare for your exam also. Okay, let's say we completed your compute solution domain. Okay, so what we will do, we will have a Q&A over this particular domain so that whatever doubts you are having till now after completion of this particular domain, those things will be cleared, and that thing will be helping you in your examination. Next is free Azure Pass. Okay, since you will be needing a Azure account, okay, so we will provide a free Azure part where you will be getting some credit. Okay, around $100. Okay, around $100 credit you will be getting, so that you can do all the practical stuff by yourself also. Okay, I have shown you that you can create a free account, but that thing is only limited to 30 days. Okay, whatever $200 credit you are getting, that thing will be limited to only 30 days. Okay, so what we will do, we will provide you Azure Pass also, where you will get the additional $100 credit, okay, for 30 days. Okay, now for 60 days we have around $300, and we will learn how to spend this $300 over your Azure services. Okay, so all these things will also be covered, that how you can utilize your $300. Because what if on the first day itself you completed your $100 or $200? Okay, then you have to wait for the next 29 days to create to get a new account with different credit. Okay, with your examinations, we will be providing proper assistance, right, so that in your first attempt only you can pass your certification examination, and at the last you will be provided training certificate, right, that will have some CPE points with it, that will be helpful when you will be like applying for any interviews, right? That certificate will help you a lot, that you have completed your AZ-204 training with InfosecTrain.